Ever wonder what the big deal is with all these generation labels? You know, what really makes a millennial different from a boomer? Or what in the world is a latchkey kid anyway? Turns out every single generation is basically a product of its time, shaped by everything from world wars to, well, the internet. So let's just dive right in and take a look at this incredible journey that made us, us.
Okay, so first things first, which one are you? Take a look. Figuring out where you fit in is pretty important, because our story starts way back in a time that wasn't about iPhones or Wi-Fi, but about something much more basic, just pure survival.
Yeah, for these first few generations we're going to talk about, life was not about finding your passion or living your best life. Nope, it was about making it to tomorrow. Seriously, their entire lives were forged in the fire of one crisis after another. We're talking global wars, economic meltdowns, just unbelievable hardship.
All right, so let's do a quick roll call of these first four. We kick things off with the industrial generation, born into a world of smokestacks and factories. Then you've got the lost generation, whose youth was just ripped away by the Great War. After them came the greatest generation, sandwiched between a worldwide depression and an even bigger world war. And rounding it out, the silent generation, who learned to be tough and resourceful because, well, they had to.
I mean, look at this. It's just a relentless cycle of crisis. Think about it. If you were an industrial kid, your childhood wasn't school. It was dodging dangerous machines in a factory. The lost generation? They survived the trenches of World War I, only to come home to a global pandemic and a massive depression. And the greatest generation? Wow. They grew up during that depression, and the second they were old enough, they were shipped off to fight in World War II. It's just nonstop.
Okay, 60 million. Just let that number sink in for a second. 60 million. That's the estimated number of people killed in World War II. That was the defining event for the greatest generation. It's a number so big, it's almost impossible to really wrap your head around it, right? But it explains so much about them, why they were so resilient and why they were so determined to build a safer, more stable world. This one quote, it just says it all about the silent generation. Toast alone would have been a luxury. Wow, just toast. They were born right in that tough spot between the Great Depression and World War II, so they grew up on ration cards and that whole waste not, want not mentality. You didn't complain, you just put your head down, worked hard, and learned to be grateful for the little things.
Okay, but after all those decades of crisis, it's like the world finally exhaled. The whole story starts to shift. The next chapter isn't just about getting by anymore, it's about actually living. And part of that meant pushing back, questioning the rules, and figuring out a whole new way to be independent. And boy, did it start with a bang. Or, more like, a boom. A baby boom. We're talking 76 million babies born in the US alone. This absolutely massive generation grew up in a totally different world, full of economic optimism, brand new suburbs, and, of course, the birth of rock and roll. Life wasn't just about chores anymore. Suddenly, it had a soundtrack.
But what came next? A total 180. While the boomers had that whole white picket fence dream, Generation X grew up in a, let's say, a different reality. Divorce rates were up, more parents were working, so a lot of kids came home to an empty house. They had their own key, they'd let themselves in. They became the original latchkey kids. Their babysitters were basically MTV, arcade games, and a whole lot of learning how to take care of themselves.
And you know what? It turns out that kind of fierce independence can lead to some seriously incredible innovation. I mean, think about it. The same kids who were microwaving their own TV dinners grew up to build the very foundations of the digital world we live in now. They didn't ask for permission. They just did it.
Which brings us to this really pivotal generation. They're kind of like the bridge between the old world and the new one. They actually remember what life was like before the internet, but they're also the ones who mastered it before pretty much anyone else.
Yeah, this is the whole millennial paradox, right? They're in this weird spot. They remember that horrible screeching sound of a dial-up modem, but they were also the first to build entire careers on the internet. They were told over and over, go to college, it's the golden ticket, only to graduate with a mountain of debt right into one of the worst recessions ever. So what did they do? They adapted. They started redefining what success even looks like.
And here is where everything changes, fundamentally. For the generations that come next, there's no before the internet. It's not a thing they had to learn. It's just the world they were born into, a world that's always on, always connected.
And this is the real shift, you guys. For millennials, tech was a tool, something you learned to use. But for Gen Z, technology is like the air they breathe. It's just there, always.
I mean, seriously, hand a Gen Z kid an old rotary phone and watch the confusion. They'll look at you like you just handed them a fossil.
And that totally changes how their brains are wired. Gen Z can process information like crazy, multitasking across 3 different group chats while streaming on Twitch. They're super aware of global issues too. And then you have Gen Alpha. They're growing up with AI like it's just another person in the house. You know, their babysitter might literally be a smart speaker. Their first words might not be mama or dada, but hey Alexa, play that song again.
So where are we headed? What's the world even going to look like for kids born after 2025? I mean, the possibilities start to sound like they're straight out of a sci-fi movie. You know that classic kid question from the backseat of the car? Are we there yet? Well, for the next generation, they might be asking that while hovering in their flying car, waiting for a drone delivery to pass. The whole context of just daily life is about to get a massive upgrade. I mean, welcome to their potential reality. Just try to imagine this. Instead of spending years studying a new language, you just download it instantly to your brain. Or picture a long-distance relationship where long distance isn't a few states away, it's Mars. This stuff is going to do more than just change how we live. It's going to force us to ask some really deep questions about what it even means to be human anymore.
So, when you look at the whole picture, from the gritty factory floor to the futuristic flying car, one thing is absolutely constant. The world never stops changing. And if this whole journey has taught us anything, it's that every single generation, in its own way, rises to the challenge. They adapt, they innovate, and they completely reshape the world in ways their parents probably couldn't even dream of. Which leaves us with just one question, right? What are they going to build next?